All right, it says that I am live. Let me give it a second to make sure that everything goes through. Oh my goodness. Guys, what a day and what a week. It is impossible not to include the events of today in this live stream. Those of you who upload involving Gunung Padang and the World Economic Forum's involvement there would have heard me say that tonight I was going to do a live stream involving talking about that in detail. And then just a few hours ago, you all saw the attempt on Donald Trump. I should say President Donald Trump. And it is impossible to carry on with this live stream without discussing that. It would be in bad taste, and not to mention it's at the forefront of my mind. I'm like thinking like I've committed to making this live stream, so I'm going to make it. It's an obligation. But it almost feels like who cares talking about archaeological corruption across the world when this just happened, because there's so much to say. So I'm going to cover both. This should be a good live stream. I'll probably just go for an hour because my mind is a little bit caught up. But, you know, we'll see how things go. Let me just double check that I'm live on YouTube. It shows that I'm there. Super chats are welcome today, guys. I'll definitely answer questions. Let me make sure everything's good on Rumble here. Yes, it is. Awesome. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about, well, let me just mention a few things of lighter note off the bat since people will be filtering in. I did a podcast. I flew out to Vegas. I was there on Monday just for a quick overnight with the Hodge twins, Kevin and Keith. Guys, if you're not following the Hodge twins, you may really like them. They're very political. They're provocative. They're really funny. They're stand-up comedians. They have millions of followers on their YouTube channel. And they recently started a podcast called the Twins Pod. And I did a thought-provoking podcast with them. I think I blew their minds a few times. I watched it back last night. And I'm like, oh, this ain't bad. You know, it's hard watching myself on podcasts. It's a little annoying because I'm like, why are you saying that? Why don't you say it like this? You're talking too long. Shut up. But the content, you know, in itself, I think you guys will find interesting. I share different details and things you guys haven't heard me share in various videos. So with that said, I recommend go checking out the Hodge twins. But okay, so let's talk about today's events first, because I think it's on the forefront of everyone's mind. You witnessed an assassination attempt on Donald J. Trump. And there are things about this, guys, that do not seem on the up and up. It seems very possible, in fact, likely, that this could have been part of an inside job, because the shooter was able to attain a straight-of-line shot from 152 yards away, which is unbelievably close. Some people think, oh, that's a football field and a half. That's kind of far. It's not through a rifle. How is this possible? So it's possible that it's total negligence, that people screwed up. You should also know that Trump's security team had put in for an additional Secret Service protection in the last number of weeks and was ignored by the Department of Homeland Security. That raises questions. How do you find a line of sight to a president in this day and age? That rooftop was right there. If you're not on Twitter or x.com, you need to get on there, because that's where you'll get the quickest, most accurate information. And that's how you can see people posting like, here's where it's at. Look on Google Maps. This is where the shooter was. This is where Trump was. 150 meters measured, Google Earth. Direct line of sight. There's also rumors going around that his ear was cut by a piece of glass from an exploding teleprompter that was shot. That's not true. Trump has since posted on his Truth Social and confirmed that he was shot in the ear. He said he knew something was up very quickly. He could hear something whizzing by. He felt his ear get hit. He ducked down. And I have to say, guys, what a fucking badass. The way he got up and was like this to the crowd, you know, fight is what he said. Dude, that guy just got shot on TV. He's having an adrenaline dump, undoubtedly. And he gets up and does that. You didn't see him, you know, quiver. There's something impressive about that. I know that my channel is watched. I have an interesting channel, and that half my audience is international. 51% of my audience, or my subscribers, I should say, is from the United States. 49% international. The UK, Canada, Australia, and throughout Europe, some India. And I have people subscribe from like 150 or 180 countries around the world. So whenever I talk about something political, I get the meanest comments you can imagine, whether it's on Instagram, particularly, you know, if I post something of political nature, I noticed that the people that are most resistant to what I have to say are people from overseas, because of course their media out there is polluting their minds, feeding them CNN International, which, speaking of CNN, did you see the headlines that they posted? Oh, Secret Service interrupts Trump at his rally. It's a real headline. And then another one, which was egregiously false as well. Trump injured, but it mentions nothing. Or, some people injured at the Trump rally. Says nothing about assassination attempt or shot. Headlines are now obviously being updated, but that's what they posted, which was so egregiously and patently false. CNN is a clear and present danger to the American people. They are so full of propaganda that somebody of authority should go there and unplug their servers. And I'm a freedom of speech, guys, but what they are doing is so egregiously false and downright wrong. Something should be done. I appreciate it, Joshua. Thank you so much for that. And so, guys, we're living in such wild times. And I know that some people listening will be like, well, I don't like Donald Trump. You better damn well not be the type of person that would support his assassination. And even if you were that type of piece of shit to do that, do you realize what type of uproar won't even, that'd be an understatement of what will happen if something was to happen to him. His support is so large that for something to happen to him would be the worst thing for everybody. Putting aside the murder and the evil act itself, the political nature, if that's, it doesn't seem like the right word for that either, but the environment and the tempo of the United States and the world would suffer so egregiously that I feel like this goes without saying, but there's always some dumb idiot, I'll get the comment like, bro, I don't like when you talk politics. This is not politics. We're living in history. Things that are happening now daily are affecting the rest of our lives and the lives of our children and our children's children. What happens to the United States and the global and free community as a whole, the free people of Earth, is being recorded right now in front of us. We are witnessing it. Now, I am encouraged from that standpoint that I'm like, man, it sure would be nice to live in nice, peaceful times, but we're living in rocky times and it's only going to get more chaotic from here. This attempt on him, that guy to go up and take a prone position with his rifle, which I'm curious to see what kind of rifle he was using. My first impression when I heard the shots go off is like, I think that's a 22 caliber. And do not underestimate the 22. It's not particularly accurate over 100 yards, but I have a Ruger 1022 and I can make a kill shot with that at 100 yards easily. And if you had a scope on it with some decent rounds, yeah, that thing is a formidable round, high capacity. And my first thoughts were that it seemed quiet and muffled like that. But then I saw a second video and I'm like, I think it was a bit louder than that. I'll be curious to know what kind of setup he had. I'm curious to see what people's thoughts are on this. This is a stream where I'd love to take lots of questions. I don't have anyone coming in here to chat with me. I was really wondering at the last second, I'm like, is there anyone I could call that will jump in and we can have a conversation back and forth? Because if you guys saw my last live stream with Dan Richards of Debunking Channel, a lot of people like that. And I want to keep doing that. But anyway, so for me, it's solo. I want to read super chats. Thank you so much, Tim Olson. And again, thank you to Joshua. But yeah, guys, hold on, let me just clear this out there. Okay. I need to get an assistant so it could, so I can make this so much easier. Bear with me, guys. That's the fun thing about my channel is I do this completely solo. 100% solo. All my editing, all my research is just Jimmy. Mostly because I have trust issues and I'm like, I'm going to hire somebody. Are they going to, I could see myself being a micromanager too. I wasn't a micromanager back when I was a manager in my last profession, because you got to let people do their own thing and you can just performance them from there. But when it comes to something like this, my baby, and every little video, every little thing matters, I'd have to be hands-on. But that being said, I don't know if you noticed, Elon Musk has now fully endorsed President Trump. I already knew he was supporting him. He always made it sound like he wasn't. Hey, thank you so much, Ed. I love you too. He tried to make it sound like, he distanced himself from Trump, but I'm like, deep down, I'm like, true capitalist, they support that guy. But there was a meeting between him and Trump just a few months ago, and I'm like, I know what that means. And they were so vague in what they were saying about it in the media, like, oh, it was just, we had mutual connections, and I said hello during a lunch, and that was it. I'm like, no. Elon Musk is one of the good guys. I know some people are going to disagree with me on this, but hear me out. He would not allow the level of freedom of speech and the things that he's saying and the things that are being said on x.com if that wasn't the case. Guys, it's fair game. As long as you're not threatening like violence, you can say anything. I've spoken out and I've tested the waters, said things about the vaccine, said things about the elections. He wouldn't let that fly. Now, a lot of people think that he's an evil guy because he wants to put chips in people's heads. Guys, listen, that's voluntary. He wants to cure people that are paralyzed, and I respect that. But if you look at all the nuanced details, guys, he's one of the good guys. I know so many people will disagree because a lot of people are really on the fence about him. But if you look at the nuanced details, there's certain things that he would not do or say if that wasn't the case, him being the good guy. I firmly believe it. But, hey, if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. Oh, wow, I'm blowing up with super chats. Let me see here. Someone, T-Bags for Life said, hey, I just learned this. Can anyone tell the details involving the assassination attempt, if that's okay? I'll tell you right now, brother, you need to sign up for x.com, which is formerly Twitter. It'll take you 1 minute to sign up. Just put in your damn email address and create an account. And so I was driving on the freeway, and I'm going to admit to using my phone while driving. I got a text from a friend, Jason, I'll give him a shout out. And he's like, bro, Trump was just shot. That was the text. And so I quickly opened up X. I'm like, I'm driving. And sure enough, right at the top were the details. Trump's alive. He was shot in the ear. Shooter dead. 5 shots. Boom. Way quicker and more accurate than any media outlet on earth. So to T-Bags for Life, brother, you got to get on x.com. It is, if you follow the right accounts, and it'll take you a minute to figure out which ones those are, you'll be able to primer it to give you the most accurate and up-to-date info down to the minute, faster than any even cable news network can keep up. They cannot keep up with this. This is instantaneous. And what's awesome about it, or beautiful about it, is people like me or you can go viral. I've made posts that have gone viral. I've had posts on there that get tens of millions of views. I don't say that to be bragging, because most of my posts don't. Like I'm learning it. It's an art of social media. But like if you make a thought-provoking post, it'll get eyes. Like the algorithm isn't perfect and it's going up and down. There's some posts that I make that I think will be great and just crash before my very eyes, but they're tweaking the algorithm as they go because the owners before it were so corrupt. Back, before Elon Musk took over, I was shadow banned. I couldn't grow. I'd be lucky if I could get, if I made a very successful post that had 100 likes, now I can get tens of thousands of likes. So that being said, I want to get on x.com. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Who Drank My Beer said, God bless Trump. Great videos, by the way. Love how, excuse me, you keep an open mind. Thank you very much. Ed said, thank you for your patriotism. I love you as well. Yeah, so this is wild. This thing's to high heaven. And I noticed that Elon Musk was saying that the head of the security the Secret Service should step down. Yeah, probably. Guys, I'm telling you, negligence is a thing. People can fuck up. But this is such an egregious lapse, I should say, of judgment and protocol that this person was able to do it. And it was almost like an act of God that Trump wasn't hit, other than his ear. And I'm now seeing reports saying that he might show up at the UFC event tonight, which would be the most badass thing I've ever witnessed. But then I thought about it. And guys, there was a person that was killed through just the crossfire, and died instantly, shot in the head. And then there's a woman, I believe, that was shot in the arm and is in critical condition. She was bleeding out or something to that effect, seriously injured. He should probably, if you want to be a world-class act, he should probably go be with that family at this time. But whatever he does, it seems to me that the support for him is stronger than ever. Guys, this is one thing. I'm an advocate for Trump. I'm voting for Trump. I voted for him before. I've been a supporter of him since 2015. He's not a perfect individual, but he is fighting against evil. And I already know some people are in the comments right now saying, what the hell is evil? And guys, you got to look into the details. Like, no one's perfect, but you need a type of individual that can hold up to media scrutiny and all the haters and thrive off of it. You need someone that's Teflon. And that's what he is. And I believe, so he has my full support. And if nothing else, I think you guys need to look at the fact that the entire media and corporations around the world are so against him. And the fact that there seems to be a sophisticated assassination attempt. So let me show you or tell you something else I just came across a few minutes ago before jumping on. Someone was replying in my feed. I don't remember their name, so forgive me, but if they're listening, I love you. There was typing in the name of the guy who was allegedly an Antifa member. I don't remember his name now. I think his last name was Violet. And at 5 a.m. this morning, there was 76 or 78 Google searches for his name all at once. At 5:20 this morning, somewhere around that. What? If that's true, and he shared the screenshot, so I'm like, this looks real. And it's such a short period of time that it would make sense for it to be real. If that's the case, guys, that is smoking gun evidence of a conspiracy, that this was pre-planned. Because I'm not watching the news right now, but something tells me that in the next few hours, I'll be like, oh, just a random gunman, a fool, a crazy person, acting alone, that kind of thing. Nah. Like, they announce these rallies like the day before. Like, they'll say what state it'll be in. Like, if you ever gone, I haven't been to a rally myself, but I know how it works. And like, all right, so I'll tell you, for example, how I know it works. When I first got back from Iraq, President George W. Bush wrote his book called Choosing Point, or who cares? Fuck him. I liked him at the time before I woke up. Decision Points, I think that's what it was. Anyway, and he was doing a book signing at the Barnes & Nobles in fucking North Scottsdale. And me and my army buddy that I deployed with wanted to go do the book signing because you get a chance to shake his hand and say hello. And I did this. I'm embarrassed about it now, but that's where I was at that time. And they announced just 24 hours in advance. And then they let the details come out after that. Like, oh, and now here's the location, to give any type of planned assassination attempt, the minimal amount of time. So this is incredibly indicative that this person had inside information on where to be and when. And then I'm looking at potential Google searches, 76 of them or 78 of them at 5:20 in the morning the same day. This stinks to high heaven. And I have a bad feeling about it. And I know that Elon Musk is already onto it, because he was putting it on blast, saying that either this is massive incompetence or something far worse. And you know what that means. Whoa, I just got a massive super chat. I know that when you're reading off these things, like, some people don't want you to like be reading off and interrupting yourself with a super chat, but like, you guys are my life support. You guys are taking care of me. And I'm going to read those super chats in a second, but if you want to support me, and I'm not here to grift you for fucking money, but I say that because I'm dropping F-bombs on here, and I don't care if YouTube demonetizes the video, whatever. If you want to support me, you can find me on locals.com and patreon.com. If you do that, you'll see my videos the night before they go live, and you get access. I want to give you something back. But if you want to support me, and if your super chat isn't read on this, that's a way to do it. But I got a comment here from a super chat from Val Hal a Christ or whatever. The rate of fire suggested semi-auto. The report sounded like supersonic 22 long rifle, maybe 22 Winchester Magnum. On the video, you could hear the round impacts around him. 1022 is my guess. That was my first gut instinct too. I think you're right. I don't know that. Watch, I just don't think it was a 5.56. 5.56 is so freaking loud, blaring loud. If you've ever shot an AR 5.56, it's I don't want to say thunderous. That'd be more of like a 7.62, but it's just a loud bang. And this was a crack. I'm like, I know what 22 sounds like. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And 22, it's been said, and I don't know if it's a fact, but it's been said to be the most deadly round in the history of mankind. That more people have been killed by a 22 than any other cartridge. I don't know if that's true, but it wouldn't surprise me. Ken of North said, have you seen the documentary called Red Giants of New Zealand? Hey, I'm going to come back to you just because it's off topic, but I'm going to come back, and I love you. So give me a second here. Joshua Patalo said, the media will say Trump brought this on himself. You know who brought it on himself is Joe Biden. He's been saying that there needs to be a bullseye over the guy. Didn't he say that just the other day? And everything. I might be misquoting that. So let me say what I know that he did say, which is that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. First of all, you're an idiot, and that's false. Second of all, Biden is a threat to, no, Biden's handlers are a threat to democracy. Let's not get this wrong. But on top of everything else, like, the nature of his social media posts and the way they've been going after him has been highly provocative that some idiot on the left would be susceptible to that. It almost seems like they wanted it to happen. This be real. Let me get, I'm blowing up here. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Cobra Clan said, look staged. The Grays, the triumphant reaction. Do you think they would have flushed the crowd? Possibly. Guys, I don't think that. And so first of all, you're taking hell of a chance for this to be staged to hit him in the ear. No, brother. This is just real life happening. There's been assassinations throughout history. This is just real life happening. That gunman may have been acting alone, may have just been some crazy fuck. That's possible. I doubt it. But like, for that to be a stage thing, I doubt it. But I appreciate your thoughts, and we should entertain all possibilities. Hold on, I'm trying to click this damn thing here. You come on, I'm trying to get to the goddamn $200 chat. Oh. Pelajolic. All right, so he said Charm 2024. Thank you so much for the $200, brother. That is a generous gift. And that'll help me right now because I'm in the middle of a move and some other things, and life is getting I'm a little bit busy. All right, hold on. Let me skip through this. God damn it. What is going on? Hey, hold on. I know how to just troubleshoot this. Don't worry about it. Show goes on. Show goes on. Hold on. Okay, here we are. Okay. Stand by. All right, so Keith Mabe. Oh, hey, Keith, I love you. We follow each other on X. Elon Musk has officially endorsed Trump this evening. He sure did. And I think he was waiting to say it. I think he already had that planned. Just my gut instinct on this. But all right. Commentary 101 said, Jimmy, Trump and Biden are both puppets for the same club. I've heard this before. That should be entertained. But there's too many things about Trump that make me think that that's actually not the case, that he's the real deal. He would have just bowed out, guys. Like, what would be the purpose of him just being some puppet? Now, let me just say that his thoughts on the vaccine and all these other things, being a supporter of it, that's a red flag. But I also know that he's a chess player. If you study him, he is a chess player. And it seems to me that anyone would understand, and RFK knows this, which is that if you go against Big Pharma, you're going against a cartel. They may wear suits and ties, but they are a cartel. And they are dangerous. And there's been other people in the pharmaceutical industry that have died under mysterious circumstances for trying to expose them. Trump is no fool, and he would know that. So you got to look at the facts that he never mandated it. That is a consequential detail. Where others tried to do it, he did not. It is possible that he is trying to save his own ass. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I could be wrong, and I know people will vehemently disagree with me on that, but I want to believe it. Let's see here. Half a second here. How am I doing here on Rumble? Hold on. Man, I'm blowing up. I got 4,300 people watching on Rumble, and how many people we got on YouTube? Let's see here. I don't know. It's not even open. No wonder. Hey, no wonder I was struggling and didn't know what the hell I was doing. Half a second, guys. Bear with me. I'm right here. Awesome. I got 3,600 people on YouTube. Hey, guys, that's a reason to follow me on Rumble, is that I got more people. I have 1.6 million followers on YouTube, and I have less live streamers than I do on Rumble, where I have 104,000. So 1/16 the following on rumble.com, and I have more followers there. It's because of the algorithm. Rumble's treating me good, whereas YouTube, I'm being shadow banned, and I've been told it a million times. So whatever, I'm not going to complain. I'll take it as a badge of honor that I'm doing something right. Let me have a sip of my beverage, guys. It's a red wine. I'm not going to get drunk and intoxicated on the live stream, but I do feel like having a cocktail tonight. I'm not going to lie. Pineapple Willie, thanks for the $50 super chat. He said, hey, keep making your videos. Got my dad to watch some of your stuff, and he really likes it. Also, do you think this could be a starter of some sort of retail action, you said? Yeah, maybe. Guys, we're living in wild times. As far as your comment on keep making videos, let me make this clear. I'm all in from here. I got into a rut for a minute where it was hard to make videos. You saw like these big gaps. My focus was distracted. And where I'm at now is I'm committed. I'm making 2 videos a month. I want to make 3, but I want to be quality over quantity, right? So 2 videos a month followed by 2 live streams. And that's what this is right here. And I have a whole list of videos that I'm going to make. I front loaded the Gunung Padang one this week because when I came across details involving the minister, I'll get into that here. All right. Let's talk about that for a few minutes here. Guys, the WEF has clearly infiltrated archaeological sites around the world. And I'm going to further build on that proof. When I made my video on Göbekli Tepe, discussing how the Doges Group, which is a Turkish conglomerate of 250 companies that has acquired a 20-year partnership to be the sole partner of excavation and tourism management of that site. And the CEO just happens to be a longtime member of the World Economic Forum. Not everyone buys into that conspiracy. It's like, well, just because he's part of the WEF doesn't mean that the WEF is controlling Göbekli Tepe. Guys, that's not how the WEF works. The WEF is literally nothing. It is a bullshit organization that doesn't exist without their members. What they are is a group of high-powered elite that have infiltrated corporations, the media, education, science, and government cabinets throughout the world. And those people that have power, that are working together on an agenda, which is in writing. Look at Agenda 2030. They're trying to push the man-made climate narrative and other things. These are the same crazy people that say they will eat bugs, that you'll own nothing, be happy, that the people that want to get rid of gas-powered stoves and ovens. Guys, that's insane. And if what they were doing was pure, let's just say they thought they were saving the world. They believe, even though they're wrong, let's just say they believe that, like, no, this is going to help mankind. We got to do this. If that was the truth, they wouldn't be operating in the shadows. You know, people laugh when, like, all right, so Jimmy studied communications and sociology in his undergrad, and then he got a master's of business administration. And they're like, he's not qualified to talk about the ancients. You know, if there's one thing I am qualified to do is do research, as well as follow the money and look at people of power. Whenever I see some corporation do something, whenever we see something done and you're like, that's weird, why would they do that? I'm like, well, it's the dollar. We kind of understand that, right? It's like, well, it's just the dollar, follow the dollar. But because of it, and it's not hard, but I know instinctively how to go look for the key decision makers and the board of directors. It's very easy. I'm not trying to, anyone can do it. If you saw some corporation, well, let me just bring it back to Gunung Padang. I'm like, okay, excavations haven't been happening there since 2014. What is the holdup? There's a subterranean cavity. The dates are widely disputed. It may be 27,000 years old. It may be not. There's a lot out there. But I'm like, okay, they're not, as of right now, there's no plan to excavate it because they came across the Director General, Hilmar Farid, that says that it's a last priority at this time. I'm like, that's weird. So I'm like, well, who does he report to? So I started Googling. Oh, it's the minister of the Ministry of Education, Research, Technology, and blah, 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 whatever it is, something like that in Indonesia. And I'm like, well, who's the minister there? Oh, it's Nadiem Makarim. Probably mispronouncing that, but oh well. And I'm like, well, who's this guy? So I Google him. Like, reading. He's a billionaire. He owned a company called Gojek, which is like the Uber of motorcycles out there in Indonesia. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, is he part of the World Economic Forum? And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Google his name, Nadiem Makarim, World Economic Forum. Boom. Global shaper. Been a longtime member of the World Economic Forum. Okay. Then I go down that video and I'm like, why is the Guardian and if you guys haven't seen my video, go watch it so you understand what I'm talking about. I'm addressing points that were discussed in that video and how I researched it. But the Guardian has been perhaps the biggest critic and media pundit of clickbait headlines and just everything anti-Graham Hancock, everything anti-ancient apocalypse. They literally say that the belief in Atlantis is dangerous. They literally said that Ancient Apocalypse is the most dangerous show on Netflix. Those are individual headlines, by the way. There's a bunch of headlines where they just relentlessly go after it. I'm like, this is weird. Because there's other clickbait headlines that talk about it. Like, oh, 27,000-year pyramid discovered. Is it a real pyramid? You know, click here to find out, kind of a thing. That's more pure, you know? Whereas these people are out to get him, and they're so against anything related to alternative ancient history. So I'm like, okay, well, who are the key decision makers at The Guardian? Who's the editor-in-chief? Catherine Viner, who is one of the super girls of Davos that attended a meeting there, 7 years ago, whatever the hell it was. It may have been 2015, so 9 years ago. And I don't know if she's a member of the World Economic Forum or not, but she's listed there with, Janet Yellen of the Federal Reserve, Michelle Obama, people at IBM, Pepsi, Facebook. The list goes on and on. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like the most powerful people on earth. I'm like, so she's the editor-in-chief of The Guardian, and they're doing hit pieces on anything related to ancient history relentlessly. They're almost obsessed with it. And like, she happens to be associated with the World Economic Forum as well. Guys, if you connect the dots, you can see that there's something off about this, because I'll just say it again. I already said it in my damn video, but it's like, listen, a highly credentialed geologist has looked at ground penetrating radar, which is scientific data. And he said, this chamber warrants excavation. There's indicators that it's man-made, because the skeptics will say, well, it's probably just a natural anomaly, a lava tube or a cave, because the site is volcanic in nature. Okay, and that's a fair point, and maybe it is. But like, there's other professionals that are saying, no, like, this is highly likely, or there's strong potential to be a man-made construct. Well, the only way to find out the answer is to go looking. So, okay, send some archaeologists and dig it up and find out. End of. Not that complicated, right? And what makes it even more bizarre is that in 2014, the Indonesian government said that they were willing to allocate, and I'm quoting them, unlimited funding for resources to excavate it. And then something stopped. And for the last 10 years, there's been no excavation. Let me be clear. Gunung Padang has not been excavated through has not had an archaeological excavation. It has been studied in other realms, but has not had a full-blown archaeological study or excavation to it. So I'm like, I don't understand why they have since pulled back the offer for funding, because I have some inside knowledge. I'm not going to drop names because I'm trying to keep things confidential, as certain reputations could be on the line, and I want the go-ahead before I present it. But let me just say that I have inside information that as of today, the Indonesian government is not going to fund a dig there. And they've since said that maybe outside funding would be acceptable. I'm actually, they didn't even use the word acceptable. I'm just like trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. They said, well, you'd have to get funding on your own by certain people that are trying to do it. And I'm like, watch, as soon as they get the funding, they'll be like, oh, sorry, you're not going to be able to do that here. We don't like these people, or that's not approved, or whatever. Just watch. The proof is always in the pudding. As of today, it is not going to be excavated. It doesn't mean it won't be in the future, but something has happened there to put it off for 10 fucking years. Thank you so much, Pelagic6, for that incredible donation. Thank you so much for Miss Anthrope. Let me try to read these other ones here. Vonman33, super sticker. Thank you so much. Being John, thank you so much. He said, someone on the inside gave the shooter access, in my opinion, Jimmy. Brother, I agree. I'm not 100%, but the indicators are there. Guys, if you haven't seen the aerial photo of how close that roof is to where Trump's stage was, it's right across the street. It's on the other side of a fence. It's not even, actually, there's not even a street between them. It's just grass with a fence. And then there's the roof. How did that person know to be there and when? Is it possible they acted on their own? Yes. If they were, hey, oh, Trump, I hate Trump, and he's having a rally a mile down the road from me, and I know where it's at, and haha, I know exactly, maybe I could do this. That's possible. But that's not what I'm thinking here. Because they could have, why wasn't the Secret Service, why didn't they have measures to block that line of sight? This person had a direct kill shot to Trump, and thank God they missed. What a loser. I'm glad he's a loser, but what a loser. You had your one chance and you blew it. Because now Trump needs to put himself in a position to never have that happen again. He needs to be like the Pope and surround himself in glass at all times. That's it. In fact, he should stop doing rallies. I don't think he'll stop doing rallies because that's just in his nature. And I probably wouldn't either, because I have that kind of like, fuck you attitude. I'm going to do it anyways. You're not going to, stupid and arrogance. Like, if you're not so arrogant, you'll live longer. But like, I get the mentality. There's a warrior spirit. You're like, I'm not letting. That's one thing I respect about Trump, is that he's not going to let someone push him down like that. Guys, even if you love him or you hate him, or if you hate him, you got to respect somebody that's a fighter, somebody that has that warrior spirit and intestinal fortitude to face danger and pursue it anyways. That's called bravery. There's something to be said for that. And do you really think he'd be putting himself through all this bullshit? Guys, he's lost billions of dollars since going down these endeavors. So the gentleman that asked earlier, and it's like, could this be, is he a puppet? Nah, man. He could bow out of this and get another TV show and just be rich and famous and all that. Like, there's a lot of nuanced details that if you really explore it, you can see that he's the real deal. That's what I want to believe. Hey, I could be wrong. Now, really quick, let me read off the sponsor, guys. I need help, and I have people, and I would only ever read off a company that I actually respect. So let me just read this off very quickly. It'll only take 30 seconds. However, the Wellness Company is a company that I've been working with, and I strongly support them. And an extremely important conversation that not enough people are having involves the spike proteins being a culprit behind a whole host of long-term health issues that we're seeing happen in real time. If you or a loved one has been vaccinated or is suffering from, quote, long COVID, any subsequent long-term side effects, now is the time to look into the Base Spike Detox Trio from the Wellness Company. This trio formula combines ingredients that have been researched to block and dissolve COVID spike protein in the bloodstream. And the doctors at the Wellness Company provide answers and hope through a revolutionary supplement called the Base Spike Detox Trio. Hundreds of people, vaccinated or not, have reported better mental clarity and increased energy levels after taking spike support daily. This could be the key to getting back to pre-COVID feeling. Head over to www.twc.health/brightinsight and use promo code brightinsight to get 10% off at checkout with the Wellness Company. The link is in the description down below. Guys, I do recommend that. Listen, there's certain topics you're not allowed to talk about, right? And side effects of COVID and the vaccination and everything else, guys, I have family members that have suffered dearly from that. And it's been heartbreaking to see. And everyone I know knows somebody that suffered from it. There's something off about getting that vaccine. Long COVID or not, you can say that exists or not. I'm not a doctor, so I don't need to get into what Jimmy really thinks. But like, the reality is that people are suffering, and there are natural supplements that you can take that doctors such as Peter McCullough have strongly supported. Guy that spoke out wildly against the COVID protocols and all of that. So I recommend you go check them out. They're the real deal. I like that company, and they're supporting me, and they believe in my freedom of speech, so I support them. So with that said, let me see what else people are saying here. Marcus Colanangelo, forgive me. You're a true polymath, Jimmy. Keep weighing in on any subject that piques your interest. Nothing is outside your scope. And that's exactly what I will do. That's the exact reason why I decided to go live tonight and talk about these events today. Because I'm going to keep it real. Like, I'm going to go with where my spirit is taking me. Not everyone will like it, but I'm going to do it anyways because I always know that's the right answer. I'm not going to be some sellout that focuses on one little thing. And the reality is that Jimmy, I'm going to talk third person here, so you don't. I got to go with my heart tells me and what my interests are, and I have many interests. It's not just the ancients. It's many things. I am vastly concerned about where the direction of humanity is going. Guys, things are going to get wild from here on out. Between now and the election, I strongly suspect that something is going to happen. I believe that they're going to do something to prevent an honest vote. Whether it's some sort of, God forbid, a terrorist attack on election day to shut down the polls, whether it's some sort of fuckery through mail-in voting or voting machines, whatever. Oh, that's a conspiracy. Fine, don't believe. I don't know. This is just what other people are saying. Or something out of left field. I believe that the COVID-19 was the artifice to be able to do what they did for the 2020 election. And I don't believe that was on the up and up. But that was a curveball. Nobody saw a pandemic coming, if you want to call it a pandemic, hence the air quotes. Right? Like, people have predicted, it's been in movies saying they'll do something to depopulate people. That's been said. But like, at that point in time, no one was talking about that. So much so that all the people that are conspiracy theorists were looking into it, like, is this real? Is it not? You know? So if the powers that be are as cunning as I think they are, they'll do a curveball, something that comes out of left field that you don't see coming. And you got to use your imagination. But that being said, it seems to me that from here on out, things get very dicey. So you got to be vigilant. I strongly recommend being a experienced user of firearms and getting a concealed carry license. Some states you don't need a license, but get experienced anyways. And, you know, because you never know what could happen. Someone just said, it's not a super chat, but Caleb Thomas said, Jimmy for president. No, bro, they would kill me. I would go scorched earth. Trump has been tame. I wouldn't be tame. I'm too wild. Follow me on Twitter and see. I'll blast people. I don't care. Like, it's the fight spirit in me. It's where my life force energy goes. Elliot Ware said, hope you end up on J or E again. Keep it up, Jimmy. I believe I will. Joe had told me personally that that would happen again. And he doesn't say those kind of things unless he means it. He didn't say it after the first time. I don't know what he thought about me after the first time. I was so freaking nervous, and I was so high on life that I was so excited to get on there. I was having this will sound corny, but I'll share it, because I was the guy on the couch in 2015 watching podcast of Graham Hancock on Joe Rogan and being like, man, it'd be fun to have a conversation with Joe Rogan one day. And it's kind of like a law of attraction thing where it's like, I felt like I had manifested that it happened. And I was sitting there across from him. And I remember when the podcast was starting, I had my hands on the table, I was looking at him, and I was like, it's happening. And I had like this really present moment realization. I'm like, oh, it's happening. And I know that sounds cheesy to some people, but so that being said, I got invited back on, and I felt that podcast was so much better. I went with Ben from Uncharted X, and I thought it was a killer podcast. And I do believe it's going to happen again, because if you wait till you see the next number of videos I have coming out, my next one, assuming nothing crazy happens, is going to be on Baalbek, which in my opinion is the smoking gun evidence of lost ancient advanced civilization. I traveled there in September, exactly 1 month before the crazy stuff went down in Israel. I believe it was meant to be. And what I witnessed there, to me, and I'm going to lay out a very compelling argument that it was not the Romans that built it. And if it wasn't the Romans, oh, wow. Well, now we have a problem involving the narrative of ancient human civilizations. And then I'm going to go on to the pole shifts. That will probably be my most important video of all time, because I've been building up the research. And to me, it seems that the most likely scenario for what has reset ancient human civilization again and again and again are cataclysmic pole shifts. Wait and see. It's going to blow some minds. And I think that will make some noise. And you know what? Let me put out the law of attraction for everyone right now. You know who I want to link up with? Is Tucker Carlson. Deeply respect him. I like him. I admire him. And I love his work. I'd love to have a conversation with him, because apparently he's woken up to the mysteries of the ancients as well. If you guys follow me on social media, you would have seen me blast this out. But he was saying just a number of months ago during a speech that, there's a complete mystery on how the Egyptians built the pyramids. We have no idea how it happened. Stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, he's cued in. Blades and ADC said, thank you for the $20. He said, thank you for being honest. If more influencers were like you and openly supported Trump instead of being cowards, afraid of losing money, this might never have happened. The silent majority needs to become very loud. Guys, I don't want to toot my own horn, but maybe I was born arrogant, or maybe it's like the Iraq war deployment made me feel a sense of confidence. And it also gave me a humbling to realize just how short life is, and that, you got to, what it really is that the people I look up to the most are those who speak their mind. And I've always been one of these people. I've always been opinionated. I've always pissed people off that I know, friends and family, because Jimmy will say what he's going to say. And I tame myself because I'm not stupid, but I'm going to keep it real. There's something, the happiest I've ever been in my life and the most successful I've ever been in my life is when I've just spoken what I believe to be true. There's something to be said for that. And like you said, if more people would do it instead of being cowards, which they are, and I don't say it to be mean, but the reality is that if everyone spoke out, this would not be a problem. The world would not be where it's at right now. It's because people want to fit in, culture. You don't want to sound crazy in front of other people. And I used to be there. So I respect it. I don't want to say I respect it. I appreciate it. I get where they're coming from. Jake Diggins said, we know this is an attempt on Trump's life was the Democrats. We know the Uniparty will do anything to seize power and enslave us. Stay vigilant, stay free, my friends. Fight for liberty. Absolutely. So now is the time for people to do their part. Speak out on social media. Send an email forward of some video of something that's interesting that you think needs to be shared. I'm careful on telling people when to share my videos, but I think this World Economic Forum correlation needs to be, there's something here, and I'm going to keep digging. And I already came across other things involving the media, involving the World Economic Forum members just infiltrating it. I was going to include it in my last video, but it's getting too long and it was off topic. So I'm like, let me just back this up a bit. But yeah, people need to understand that, conspiracies are real. Let's see here. What do we got? Hold on. Let me see who else is queued in here. Oh, wow. I'm blowing up. I hope I have no trolls in here. I always have some. Let me answer some pure questions. If you want to send me a super chat, I'll see it. Forgive any of the ones I didn't see. If it's only a small amount, it disappears quicker and I can't see them all from where I'm sitting. So forgive me, but know that I'll see it later and I love you. All right. But what else? Yeah. So we are living in exciting times. I don't want people to feel scared. You need to be an optimist. I did talk about this while on with the Hodge twins, which again, if you're just jumping on, you haven't seen me talk about it. You need to go check out Keith and Kevin of the Hodge twins. You got millions of followers on YouTube, 3-4 million. And these guys are just doing awesome work. And we did talk about this. I believe that times will get a lot worse before they get better. But in the end, the human spirit favors good over evil. I believe the arc of the universe favors good over evil, and times will get better. But I do think things were going to get a lot worse. And I think that the powers that be are so cunning that they'd be willing to bankrupt the economy, which is already underway. Did you guys already see? The petrodollar is gone. The effects of it will be seen soon enough. And then you have BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But now there's more than 36 countries, that are creating their own currency. Guys, they are dethroning the US dollar. Things are going to get dire here in the US. What you'll witness is hyperinflation at some point. Inflation is already happening. As you know, you go to the grocery store, you purchase food. All these things with interest rates is a complete farce. They don't have to make interest rates as high as they are. People buying new cars, they're paying like 7-8%. What? Just like with homes, they raise just by a few percentage points is enough to make the monthly payment go up by several $100s a month. So people aren't buying houses unless they're rich and they can afford to pay cash. This is all by design. It doesn't have to be like this. It is a conspiracy. And my ultimate prediction, and I've shared this before, so forgive me if you're hearing it again, but I'll say it again, is that they're going to collapse the US dollar and they'll rush in to save all of us with a digital currency. And then we'll come in the social credit scores and all. It's like doing a deal with the devil. It's like the movie Lord of the Rings, where it's like in the very, very opening of the first one, they're saying that, elves received 9 rings or whatever it was, and they foolishly took them without question, is what it said. And that's what will happen, is that people will not be able to afford to feed their children. And they'll be like, yeah, fine, give me the digital currency. I'll take it. Just let me buy food, please. And then things will get really, really bad from there. Let's see here. We got a lot of people watching. I couldn't be more grateful. Let's see here. One second. Wow, we got 5,000 people almost watching on Rumble. And where's my damn YouTube one? Why does this thing keep going away? Don't worry, I'm right here. Don't worry, guys. I know this is annoying when people take breaks in live streams. I got 3,000 on YouTube. Right on. Let me look for some comments. Let me see here. I want to see what you guys are saying. I don't want to miss people. Any other ones? I'll look for ones that are just coming up. Someone said, you're the man, Jimmy. I appreciate you. Yeah, people say that was divine intervention with Trump. There was this photo that came out that Elon, if you want to find it, Elon Musk retweeted it an hour or two ago, where someone was able to capture a photo of him while he was currently dogpiled by the Secret Service right after he went down. And you could see his face, you can see the blood coming down, and you can see a light shining in on part of his face and his sleeve. There's something special about it. So people say it was divine intervention. Who knows, guys? I do believe he's the man for this at this time. Someone said 22 Hornets. Is that the round that was used? Are you confirming? Do we have any updates as to what the caliber was? I'd be very curious. I want to know what firearm he was using. I'm a Data 12. God bless you as well. Thank you so much. Let's see here. All right. Take a look at the helicopter footage of the gun and body. That would be the way to see it. Yes. Yep. Thank you, James Hoffa. The elves only got 3, men got 9. Yes. How many did the dwarfs get? Did they get 4? What did they get? Media said AR-15. Oh, of course they said that. It probably was. I mean, if you wanted to do a hit, AR-15 is the way to go. Yeah, someone said 5.56. It would make sense. Yeah, media said AR-15. Yeah. Well, one, they want to cancel the AR-15, so they got to say it up front, right? Like, yep, definitely AR-15. Get rid of, ban it. That way, this will never happen again if you just ban it. Anthony said 7. Anthony Shaddix, 7 for the dwarves, 3 for the elves. Man, I'm gonna get off this live stream and I'm gonna go watch The Lord of the Rings. I always feel better after watching it. It gives you, it's uplifting, and just like, it may have been a year ago now, but I remember the media was denouncing Lord of the Rings and calling it racist and all this other crap. And I'm like, they want to demoralize people because that series inspires the imagination and gives you a sense that good can and should defeat evil. And no wonder they want to get rid of that crap. Why do you think all these Hollywood movies now suck? Did you see this Gladiator 2 trailer? Now, I love Denzel Washington. He's one of the good guys. I'll of course go watch the movie. But they're putting like rap music in it. Like, what happened to Hans Zimmer? You know what I mean? Like, we'll see how that turns out. But I have a feeling they're going to fucking go woke on that shit. Let's see here. Someone said snipers don't use AR-15s. That's true. But this is within 150 yards. You know, and you need high capacity, or at least you need at least 10 rounds if you're going to do some sort of hit. You don't want to run out because then you're done. Someone said, let's see here. They'll say the guns need to be made illegal. Yep. Someone said, cheers, found you on the Hodge. All right, Jimmy Cracks Corn. That's funny. Cheers, found you on the Hodge Twins. Excellent interview and really appreciate your intellectual input on the pyramids. Look forward to more. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. I was thrilled to go on with them. One, I like them. I respect them. I've been following them for years. And two, I knew it'd be a fun conversation because they're cool guys. And it also brings my work to a whole new group of people. There was people watching that podcast that had never even heard of the Richat structure being associated with Atlantis, never heard of the mysteries of the pyramids. And so I look forward to connecting with other, podcasts and other people to get the word out. Yeah. God, people are debating about the caliber. People are saying 5.56 is too loud, even if it was suppressed. I'm telling you, 5.56 is so damn loud. But then again, it's through microphones. It's 150 yards away. There's a crowd. There's noise. What's interesting is that listen to exactly what Trump was saying when the first round went off. He was talking about the numbers involving illegal immigrants coming across the border. And he said, what's really sad, or something about sad. He said the word sad, and then crack, crack, crack. It was weird. It was weird the way that timing went out. And I'm not saying that the sniper himself timed it like that. In fact, I doubt he did. I bet he couldn't even hear it because he would be having an adrenaline dump himself. So he'd have this, tunnel vision probably. He'd be super freaking nervous. Like, this is one moment. He probably figured he'd die in the process. I don't think he thought he was going to get away. So he was like going, all out. Fucking loser. People are saying 223. Just so people that don't know, 223 and 5.56 are virtually identical. You can use a 223 and the 5.56. 223 is less. The combustion of it is slightly lower, slightly less performance, but they can be similar. Basically the same round. Yeah. Kalium Thomas said, Jimmy, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk, best lineup ever. Could you imagine? I want to meet Elon Musk too, because I want to ask him. Because those of you probably already heard me say this before, but I'll say it again, that when he was on the Full Send podcast a year and a half ago, he was talking about ice ages being a deep, deep rabbit hole. If you look into the data, I believe that he understands about catastrophic pole shifts and interglacial periods, that the data does show that the Earth is cold more often than it's hot, and the Earth is frozen more often than it's hot, and the periods of warming last several to 10,000 years, maybe tens of thousands of years, whereas the periods of cooling last tens of thousands of years, 70 to 90,000 years. And I'm like, I think that's the smoking gun evidence. I think that's the reason why he wants to go to Mars, because he knows that once Earth freezes, or at least once half the Earth freezes over again, like the Northern Hemisphere, it's game over. Pool Hall said, we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye, Biden said on July 5th, 2024. Thank you for quoting that, because I mentioned that earlier and you got the quote perfect. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye. Like, what the fuck is he saying? And that's not even from Biden, because he is an empty vessel. He's gone. Mostly gone, right? So, like, who wrote that in there in the teleprompter for him, right? Jank Diggins said, every piece of responsibility. Oh, Look at me just figuring out how to put this up for everybody. Jim, I'm such an idiot. I knew how to do this before and I never did it because I forgot. And here I am. All right. Every piece of responsibility you abdicate, tyrants will take up and use against us or against you. P.S. The elves were able to perceive Sauron's true intentions when they put up the rings. I love it. I love it. Let me see. Let me scroll up to this other one. Here we go. Felipe Oliveira. Jimmy, what can you do other than expose WF to help unblock these excavations? These research could lead to amazing discoveries, and we must have that right now. Or the right to know, excuse me. By the way, I remember seeing your comment with you saying, could we raise funding? So here's the deal. When it comes to making any change in the world, it seems that the one theme that I've seen is that the court of public opinion has the most likely avenue of success. That if you have enough people make noise, that is the one thing that seems to make change. So I think that exposing the masses to the reality of the situation, which is this. Two of the arguably the world's oldest and most mysterious sites on Earth, Göbekli Tepe and Gunung Padang. Yes, Göbekli Tepe is 11,600 years old, and neighboring site in Turkey, Karahan Tepe, maybe 2,000 years older. But if you look into the details, they're probably the same date. Okay, so maybe Göbekli Tepe isn't quite as old. Maybe it is, whatever. Gunung Padang, potentially 27,000 years old. Yes, they don't have archaeological evidence to define that, but the chamber itself and the soil around it is 27,000 years old. So if the chamber is man-made, it's suggestive evidence that it could be that. And I just preface that because there's papers that have been published and retracted because of these little nuanced details. We're like, that's not proof. Okay. Arguably, two of the world's oldest and most mysterious sites on Earth warrant further excavation, and both those sites happen to be at a standstill. And not only are they at a standstill, they are indefinitely postponed. How do I make this go away? Hold on. Click on the next one. Hold on here. Sorry, I just want to get this off the screen. So that being said, since it's political in nature, since the country of Turkey are the ones that authorize the Dojas group to have authority over the site, since the going over to Gunung Padang, since the Ministry of Education, Research, Technology, etc., is a political position, if enough public outroar happened and people were threatening, like, I'm not going to travel to your country anymore. I don't like it. I think you guys are shady. And enough people made a big enough stink and it caught traction in the media, then all of a sudden things can change. Doesn't mean that things will change, but that is the one avenue that I say, or I think would be the best way to go. So share my work on this stuff, make people more aware. That's the best thing I could think of, because going back to what Felipe Oliveira said a minute ago, or in another comment that you didn't see, is that he was talking about raising funding. I'm like, these people will block the funding. If they don't like who's going after it, they could just shut it down. And the proof is in the pudding, because the Indonesian government went from saying that they were willing to provide unlimited funding and resources to excavating. And then something happened, and now they're not going to. They're saying if it's going to be excavated, it needs to be done through other funding, which I doubt they'll approve, because why would they relinquish it in the first place? Ed Kreider said, oh, great, the FBI is leading the investigation. FBI loves us. What are you talking about? Yeah, that place has been corrupted. Let's see here. How do I make this go away? How do I take it down? I don't know how. Yeah, thanks, mods. I don't know how to make this go down. So I'll just leave it up until someone else leaves me another super chat. Oh, hide the comment. Your mom said, hey, Jimmy, are you out yet? I think you're beautiful. Guys, I'm straight. I appreciate the love. I wish, hey, listen, if I was gay, I'd be doing far better than I am now, right? Let's be real, you know? But I appreciate the love. Magic Meatbag said, just saying hi. Thanks for all the cool videos, Atlantis and such. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Wesley Lang says, if people can lose the amorality of hedonism, we can not only prepare and save as many from the coming excursion, but thrive in the extreme cold to come. Hey, I'm open to it. If nothing else, hey, you might pass away in the coming cataclysm, but at least you had your soul right. And that's what matters most, because we're all going to die at some point, right? Let's see here. What are people saying? You know, the interesting thing is people are saying that FBI will seal the evidence. On this one, this is going to be curious to see, because any suppression of information related to what happened today involving Trump and the assassination attempt, it's not going to flow well to suppress information. Like, so going back to 9/11, 2001, it was far easier back then. In fact, it was simple to suppress and classify information. This one, we'll see. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Vegas incident with mass shooting there and how they were able to suppress that. Yes. And I've still maintained that. But when it comes to this Trump one, this is going to be a tough one, especially since he was the victim and he will likely have access to certain information involving the investigation that others wouldn't. So if he chose to share it, would be his potential prerogative. Maybe, maybe not. So this will be very, very curious to see. I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute, but any last questions you guys have, throw them out to me now. That way I'll see them, because I don't want to just wrap it up. What do you guys? Yeah, Trump will demand answers. Zetsu13 said Trump will. Let's see if I can add this. Oh, I can add any comment. God, I'm learning things as I go. Trump will demand answers, which in return will get people to have the power to get answers. I agree. They're not going to be able to keep this one totally under wraps. We're going to find out. Let's see here. Beagler42 said, "Hey, Jimmy, big fan of your work. Talk to us about divine intervention. Did God save Trump?" So here's the thing. Let me have a sip here. My first inclination, there are many people that were very good people in this world that have not been saved. So if you want to say that he was saved and others weren't, then the argument comes like, well, then why not them? And some people say, well, it's just their time. I do believe that Trump is serving a purpose at this time that is much needed. And if nothing else, even people that don't like him, you would think they would give him credit for at least exposing the corruption, right? If people hate everything he ever said and everything he ever did and every policy he ever made, which would be ridiculous. But if that was the case, if nothing else, an objective, open-minded, reasonable person can say, well, okay, but the corruption is real. The government's things are, in the media especially, it's worse than I would have thought. If nothing else, you'd have to admit that. So if he had one purpose that he would have served, is showing that. Joe McDonald said, this all won't matter soon because of the upcoming magnetic pole reversal event. Göbekli Tepe most likely had evidence of that, and this is why they locked it down. Guys, that's possible. I think the powers that be know that a cataclysm is coming, but that may be clear. I don't believe they know when it will happen. I do not believe like day and time or something like that. They might have a ballpark window. And the data suggests that it is very possible that the next polar excursion will happen in the coming decades. It might not. I don't know that. It's possible it's hundreds of years from now, but it's coming. And it's not impossible. In fact, it even seems likely it could be in our lifetimes. But I don't know that, guys. I might be 100 years old on my deathbed and everything was fine, right? But the data does prove that the geomagnetic poles are not only shifting, but they've been accelerating over the last number of decades. That is a scientific fact. And when that pole shift does happen, it is going to be catastrophic for multiple reasons. One, it's going to destroy satellite communication systems, fuck up the power grid. Having the internet go down in itself will be cataclysmic. If the electrical grid goes down, that's cataclysmic. But there's enough evidence to strongly suggest that it'll cause incredible weather or shifts in weather patterns around the world. It could shift the Gulf Stream. The global currents of oceans would shift, which in itself causes, besides the sun, it's the ocean currents that dictate weather patterns around the world more than anything besides the sun. Case in point, England doesn't get, the UK does not get a lot of snow. Reason is because the Gulf Stream works its way up. Let's see here. We got, hold on here. Oh, I can't add you. Hey, Tree3 Climber, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Any last comments? I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute, guys. But I am having fun. And if you guys keep asking me fun questions, I don't stop. But let's see here. Yeah. Wow, we got a good following on Rumble. Let's see what the YouTube looks like. YouTube has gone down significantly. That's interesting. 2,700. I'm still grateful for it, but I find that interesting. Let's see here. Yeah, watch The Day After Tomorrow. I was just talking about that with Keith and Kevin from the Hodge twins. Like, that movie is based on a true story. They just blame it on humans. They say it's man-made climate change, but like a pole shift should involve that with flash freezing. Jared Brush said, Jimmy, why don't billionaires or millionaires pay for more excavations? So that's a great question. However, when okay, they already are. The Doshas group, that's the sole partner of excavation and tourism management at Göbekli Tepe, is a billionaire. And he himself is a billionaire. And then the company that he's a CEO of and chairman of the board of is $1 billion conglomerate of 250 companies. So that's not about money. And then the Indonesian government, they have money to fund a dig. And they went from saying it'll be unlimited funding to no funding. So this is political in nature. The people with the decision-making powers to do so are preventing it. And here's how you know. They'd be trying to raise funding. Let's pretend the Indonesian government was so poor they couldn't afford to dig up Gunung Padang, which is not true. They're not poor. They could do it. Or at least afford to do it. And if they couldn't, they would say, hey, we're looking to bring in outside investors. You'll be credited on the study. And we need some donors. They're not doing it. Do you understand? Like, if it was about money, they'd ask for it. They're not doing it. And they're not paying for it. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. Not everyone understands the conspiracy of this, which is like, the proof is in the pudding. They're not excavating, and they deferred it for generations. That is all you need to know, that it's a cover-up. It's not about money. It's not about money. Unless you were to buy them off, the key decision makers, with money to encourage them to go do it personally, then maybe there'd be a change. But yeah. Let me see if there's any last comments, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. I love you all very much. All right, so a couple things. If you haven't seen my podcast, if you're on YouTube, go to Twins Pod. You can find the link through their channel, which is Hodge Twins, which I recommend you subscribe, and will lead you there. But Twins Pod is the podcast. Go watch it. It's a fun one. I enjoyed it. I think you guys will enjoy it too. Stay tuned. My next video will be not this upcoming week. It'll be the week after, probably early in the week, but don't quote me on that. Sometimes things come up. And I intend to do it on Baalbek, most compelling example of a lost ancient advanced civilization. And after that, I'll get into the pole shifts. If something crazy or I discover something in the meantime, I'll front load that video, just like I did with the Gunung Padang. But if there's any last comments, I'll give it one more minute and I'll close this out, guys. I love you all very much. Oh, and let me also say this. I already plugged my locals in Patreon earlier, but particularly locals. If you guys are a supporter of me there, I do a live stream once a month at the end of the month. And because there's so few of us, it's such a tight, small community, which I'm trying to grow, but every single comment and every single question is read live. I do at least an hour, and I do it towards the end of the month, and that's on locals.com. It's very easy to sign up. It's like, type in your email address and create a password, and you're there. And if you want to contribute, that's great. Because obviously I've missed thousands of comments already, literally. And so it breaks my heart that I can't read them all, but that's a way to support me. And you get it by following me on locals.com or patreon.com. You can watch my videos a full day, not a full day, the night before. Because usually what happens is I film in the early afternoon. I spend the next 5 hours editing the video. I upload it before then at 7 p.m. And then I want to have the video go live the next day around 9 a.m., 10 a.m. or so, so it's like, it's a window to go see it. Maybe I'll get to the point where I can do it 24 hours in advance. But usually I'm so excited to have it go live. It's like, publish the damn thing, Anyway, so that's where I'm at. I want to tell you all I love you. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys joining me here on this Saturday night. stay vigilant and don't let the events that have happened get you down, because it is depressing. Guys, I'll be honest, when I first saw this happen to Trump, I almost cried. I was heartbroken. I was shook. I was thrilled to see he was okay, but just I had that feeling. I'm like, God damn it. They're really going for it, are they? And it makes you think they'll try it again. God. Cenk Diggins is back with us again. We're going to keep it going, guys. Two-partner. One, how do you walk around with slicing people's up on the sharp jawline? And when is the next attempt on Trump's life? I'm not exactly sure what you're saying here. I'm not exactly sure what that means. How do you walk around that sharp? Oh. I thought you were talking about slicing people up. Sharp jawline. Thank you, brother. Well, I take care of myself. I work out, hit the sauna and the cold plunge. Anyways, guys, with that said, I'll just wrap it up. I'm going in circles. I love you all, and I'll see you guys all again real soon. Have a lovely night and weekend. Take care.